According to the New York Times, Maria Sharapova has been inducted into the International Tennis Hall of Fame. But her real legacy may be how she turned athletic achievement into an enduring business empire. Sharapova was ranked world number one for just 21 weeks during her career, yet she was the highest paid female athlete for 11 straight years. She secured deals with Nike, Porsche, Tiffany, and Tag Heuer, and helped create the merger of sport and fashion that is now routine. Today, she's on the board of Moncler, speaks at Davos, and is launching a podcast with Vox Media. She invests in wellness startups and advises consumer brands. As she puts it, the qualities required to become a Hall of Fame athlete are pretty much the same qualities required to become a successful chief executive. Sharapova illustrates a larger truth. If you can be number one at something that captures public attention, you can transform that spotlight into lasting influence, wealth, and an entire business conglomerate. So, what's the real message here? Maria Sharapova has made an absolute fortune because she had the drive, the tenacity to focus on being number one at one thing. Only then did she expand to this huge, gigantic fashion empire, business empire. That's the real lesson for you and me. Now, we can't all be as good looking as Maria Sharapova, but we can all focus and discipline ourselves and work hard to try to become number one at something, and then use that attention to get involved with other businesses, maybe at a smaller scale, but still do quite well. Okay, let's dig a little bit deeper here. It's obviously not completely new for someone to become famous and then get involved in a lot of businesses and be essentially an influencer. Martha Stewart did it well before there was an influencer, the name influencer. Jack LaLanne, those of you my age or older in the United States, remember this guy who started out in the 1930s. My mother was watching his exercise show in the 1960s, I vividly remember, and he was selling blenders and juices into his 90s. So there's a long-standing tradition of if someone has some level of fame, they can be like George Foreman, the George Foreman Grill. They can make a lot of money. What I fear is the tendency a lot of us say, well, I'm not going to be the number one tennis player in the world. Okay, I'm not either. And let's face it, a part of Maria Sharapova's huge success, why she was paid so much more than other female tennis stars, and forgive me if this seems crass or I'm not politically correct, or if this seems well, I apologize if this offends anyone, but I'm giving you objective truth here as I see it. She got that much money in part because she was articulate and well-known, but also she was simply better looking than her competitors. She was, to many people, men and women, the perfection of a female goddess, 6 feet tall, blonde, beautiful, the ice queen. And it worked really well for photos on brands and marketing and video images and social media images. It worked really well. Am I saying that only good-looking people deserve to get rich? No. What I am saying is whoever you are, have the discipline and the focus to work just as hard as she did to become a top tennis star. Because if she had simply been, someone who casually played tennis and tried to make it as an influencer, maybe she would have done well, but maybe not. It was the combination of demonstrated excellence in one field, attracting all the eyeballs, the fans, the followers for that she was then able to leverage all these other business deals. And there are a lot of deals here. Let's go over them again, because again, it's Nike, Porsche, Tiffany, Tag Heuer, watch company. She serves on the boards of various companies now. And she's able to do this because she's able to attract disproportionate attention. The reason I'm focusing on her now, because I'm not really a tennis fan, I used to play it, I don't watch it, is I see her because she's on the front page of the New York Times today. She did spend a lot of time thinking about the type of dresses she would wear in major competitions, was very early into this sense of how sports and fashion can meet together in a way that really can be jet fuel to a career. She did that. In some ways, she's very similar to Michael Jordan, what he did with Air Jordans and becoming essentially a billionaire himself, the Kardashians, their media empire. Now, there's the tendency to look at the Kardashians and say, well, they're just famous for being famous. They're a bunch of idiots. Well, you try it. I've worked with PR people and been at press conferences where Kim Kardashian was, and I'll never forget the time asking the publicist who hired him and paid her a lot of money. I said, "What's it like working with Kim Kardashian?" And she was, 15 feet away, expecting, is she yelling, screaming, being diva-like? He said, "TJ, you'll never meet anyone more professional. She shows up on time, knows her lines, no drama, and all the cameras come." So that's a skill set. It is a discipline, and she has exhibited it. One of the things that I think sometimes people are unfair with is that there is a sense of, okay, women, Kim Kardashian, Maria Sharapova, they didn't really deserve this. They're not like a Jack Welch. To many people, Jack Welch is still the prototypical image of what a CEO should look like. Sort of a grumpy old bald white man. He deserved it, yet these others didn't. Well, the reality is they have a lot of the same skill sets. They work hard, they build relationships, they focus on one thing at a time, trying to become number one at something. Now, Maria Sharapova, as I pointed out to you, was only number one in the world for 21 months. But for 11 years, she was the highest paid female athlete. But she leveraged the fact that she was number one. Jack Welch famously said, every one of our industries, we're either going to be number one or number two, or we're going to get out of it. We can debate another day whether that got fiddled with at the end and perverted in a way that wasn't meaningful. But at some level, it is considered to be a good strategy. And Maria Sharapova has practiced. And she realizes you've got to leverage whatever assets you have. If you are incredibly good looking, and I'm not being sexist here, it applies to David Beckham, who has a lot of money coming from deals with fashion companies and his own fashion line, and his wife's a fashion designer. If you're an incredibly good looking person, male or female, then whatever clothes you're wearing are going to be more aspirational to millions of people, and it lends itself to those sorts of businesses. And she realized that, yeah, people do really scrutinize what an incredibly talented, good-looking, 6-foot-tall blonde woman is wearing. And she's leveraged that throughout her career. And you see a number of her dresses splashed throughout the front page of the New York Times website today. So she continues to leverage that in a way that's quite savvy. I think she realizes what Martha Stewart realized a long time ago. Martha Stewart, people don't remember, was a fashion model and was making good money as a fashion model, but realized there's another hot 22-year-old coming along every day. You're only going to be seen as the sexy young thing for so long. And that's why she diversified. She became a wildly successful stockbroker. And then she became a caterer. And then she created Martha Stewart's vast empire, at one point being a billionaire herself. So that's savvy. Now, Martha Stewart is no longer the 21-year-old model ingenue. And yet here she is still on the cover of Sports Illustrated in her 80s because she was able to leverage initial strengths in other areas and build it out into a whole business empire. I predict we're going to be seeing Maria Sharapova around in a lot of businesses for years to come, because let's face it, she has enough money now where she and her partner and their kid could just sit back, relax in a mansion in the city, the 10 most glamorous cities in the world. She could do nothing but go to parties, have servants wait on her. She has more ambition than that. She's out giving speeches at Davos. Am I telling you she's a business genius and should be the next CEO of GE? No, she's not trying to be the CEO of GE. She's working on things she actually knows about. And that is why I predict we are going to see her around for quite some time, and she'll get to pick the businesses she wants to be involved with. So congratulations, Maria Sharapova. She, of course, being talked about right now because of the US Open, which is a major tennis tournament played in New York City. I used to go when I lived in the New York City area, but now that I'm in South Florida, I don't get to go down there, or I don't get to go up there to the tournament nearly as often.